Ladies and gentlemen, it's absolute bona fide conservatism with proclamation news and gatherance. With the prodigious, the prominent professor at PNG. Yes, back with the news. Back with the Flux news. Flux with the show. Thank you all. New edition 2021 inside Westminster Abbey, part of the aristocracy social elite. We're getting so many more subscribers. We've got loads to get through today. We're going through, we've got weather, climate change, we've got criminal law. People, what turns people's psychomotor state to turn to men's rehabilitation? We've got loads to go through. Absolutely phenomenal. Boris Johnson, we've got Barbara Windsor, some no business like show business. Make sure you stay tuned. Absolute populism. Thank you for coming through, ladies and gents. Absolutely. It's going to be one of the best shows I've added in a little while because it's been all academic integrity last week as well. Pot noodle break. Everyone has pot noodle break, don't they? Moderna becomes the third COVID vaccine approved in the UK. Moderna. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said it is excellent news that a third coronavirus vaccine has been approved for the use in the UK. It is made by the US company Moderna and works in a similar way to the Pfizer, one already being offered on the NHS. The UK has pre-ordered 17 million doses of the Moderna vaccine, 10 million more than planned, but supplies are not expected to arrive until spring. It is the last COVID vaccine with final trial data published. There are hundreds still in development, with some expected to report findings in the near future. Around 1 million people in the UK have had at least one dose of the COVID vaccine so far, with either the Pfizer or AstraZeneca. Vaccines are already approved by UK regulators. That figure includes almost a quarter of those aged over 80 in England, people at highest risk of severe illness or death from the virus. It's important you get to know because you could miss out your vaccine. It's going to be mandatory anyway in months to come, so be pre-warned, get the best vaccination there is. Vaccines are being given to the most vulnerable first and set out in a list of 9 high priority groups, covering around 30 million people in the UK. The Prime Minister has said the aim is to vaccinate 50 million people in the UK by mid-February, including care homes, residents and COVID and staff, frontline NHS staff, everyone over 70 and those who are clinically extremely vulnerable. Health and Social Care Secretary Matt Hancock said, "This is further great news and another weapon in our arsenal to tame this awful disease." UK had originally ordered 7 million doses of the Moderna jab, but has increased it to get even more people immunised as quickly as possible. In total, the UK has now ordered 367 million doses of vaccines to protect against COVID-19. Nadim Sawi, Vaccine Deployment Minister, said the NHS is putting out the stops to vaccinate those most at risk as quickly as possible, with over 1,000 vaccination sites live across the UK by the end of the week to provide easy access to everyone, regardless of where they live. The Moderna vaccine will be a vital boost to these efforts and will help us return to normal faster. The Moderna vaccine and RNA vaccine, like Pfizer, injects part of the virus genetic code in order to provoke immune response. It requires temperatures around minus 20 Celsius for shipping, similar to a normal freezer. In comparison, the Pfizer BioNTech one requires temperature closer to minus 75 Celsius, making transport logistics much more difficult. The AstraZeneca jab is easier to store and distribute as it can be kept in normal fridge temperature. All these vaccines require a second booster shot, but a first dose is likely to be given to as many people as possible. In the trials, more than 30,000, the Moderna vaccine offers nearly 95% protection from severe COVID. No vaccine is 100% effective, and it takes time for protection to build. For all the COVID vaccines, we still do not know how long immunity will last. People who have received a coronavirus vaccine should continue to follow social distancing rules to protect themselves and others. EU and US regulators have already approved the Moderna vaccine. Just going to a slight break there, gents. Thank you all for coming through. This is going to be an absolute phenomenal show. So stay with me. We've got some great news coming up. Hopefully, yeah, you will be able to hear it. No problem.
Saturday, 20th of July with Proclamation News and Gatherings. Why is Proclamation News and Gatherings so successful? It gives you congestion and further incidents inside UK also. So think first and think safety. And most deaths are caused by driving incidents inside the UK. Call 999 or 101 for legal authorities, such as police department, fire brigade and NHS services. Please bear in mind they are very busy with so many tragic day in, day out. Knife crime, racketeering and many other criminal activities. Stay tuned, we've got some conservatism. Fire brigade also busy with fighting services, attending many road fires, house fires also, giving advice to kids at school in their pat-down at school. Firemen says don't play with fire or matches. NHS also, as we are aware, supporting our wondrous mothers of childbirth, elderly people, and people at work who have many trips of falls, many deaths are caused by trips of falls at work. Please be patient as they are under stress from day to day to feed their family also. It's their prerogative to protect us, but no need for abruption towards their success. Unfortunately, they cannot make miracles happen, but in some certain situations, they are trying their best to reach out to every occupant inside the UK. Make sure you wear your seatbelts, and passengers on board and babies have seatbelts adapted adjacent to the car seat. Also, abide by road safety signs. Watch out for motorcyclists. Use mirrors effectively indicate when acting into safe sufficient directional choice. Take on board police road safety instructions. Try to avoid overtaking. Check your engine for oil, your engine oil department, and your water coolant tank to make sure it tops up sufficiently to the level maximum. Your MOT, make sure your MOT is updated. Make sure your tyres are not worn and have sufficient air on the side, as your PSI limit on the side of your tyres. Keep an eye out on fuel on route to destination, and also plan your route to your destination ahead. Car incidents today in West London, 84127. Lane or lanes closed on construction. One lane due to construction on A4127 Greenford Road both ways, and B455 Rushlick Road East. Lane 1 of 2 is closed. Roundabout with lane 2 of 2 closed. Southbound for injunction improvement works. Minor restriction of Broadway westbound. I think Rushlick is where Boris Johnson is from, bear in mind. On the 15th of July, it's first report at 10 a.m. Still bear in mind it's still closed today. Central London 84 telecom work, temporary traffic signals. Temporary traffic signals due to telecoms work on A4 Duncannon Street at Strand. 17th of July, 7 a.m. first reported. Stratford Montfitchet Road. Traffic signal failure. Approach with care. Traffic signal on Montfitchet Road northbound near Stratford Coach Station. Approach with care. This traffic signal has been damaged due to a collision. 20th of July is reported on 5 a.m. this morning. Tragic death by public transport. Boy of 14 killed by train, joked with friends before tragic accident. A schoolboy was killed on train tracks. Was seen joking with friends. 14 was struck by a train after stepping on the Conservative station in Surrey in front of up to 50 fellow pupils on Monday afternoon. Join the Conservatives today. Join today and help us shape Britain's future, all for £25, well worthy. By joining the Conservative Party, you are able to help us win elections. All of your subscriptions goes towards our campaigns. Like myself, campaigning it every day. Get the latest from inside the party with regular member updates. Choose the candidates who stand in local parliamentary elections and vote in leadership elections, so you can choose the people you want to represent you. Influence party policy by giving feedback on policy beliefs. Take part in our campaign groups like the Conservative Women's Organisation or the Young Conservative. Meet like-minded people such as myself and make a difference to our country. Winning is everything. Since 1945, Winston Churchill. Connect with a local Conservative. As a member, you become a part of a local association. Support local campaigns. Attend social events with members just like you. Come to conference. Join our MP, councillors, and activists in the biggest events of the Conservative calendar. Stand for election. Members have opportunity to stand for elections as Conservatives. So if you decide that you want to take part in our democracy, you can. I'm at Parliament Week in November, so make sure you attend. It's going to be very, very extraordinary extravaganza. My knowledge is coming into play.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go, back with UK politics. Thank you so much for listening. UK politics, ladies and gents. Any of you want to have some nitty-gritty research? Maybe you think I'm slightly out with statistics? Always welcome to call in. Tell me how you also call in. Let me know how you're coping throughout this pandemic. Are you struggling? Is it causing domestic abuse, or just a bit of atmospheric pressure in your home, in your household, between you, your wife, or your husband, or your children? It's causing a bit of stress at home. Not going out doing your usual day-to-day activities. Anyway, COVID-19. UK sees highest daily toll of 1,325 deaths. A further 1,325 people have died in UK within 28 days of positive COVID tests. The biggest figure reported on a single day since the pandemic began. It means there has been just short of 80,000 deaths by that measure, as another 68,053 new cases were recorded. Public Health England said the number of deaths will continue to rise until we stop the spread. It comes as the government launched their new campaign in England urging people to act like we've got the virus. The adverts funded by England's Chief Medical Officer, Professor Chris Whitty, are intended to remind the public COVID is spreading fast, with large numbers showing no symptoms. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said our hospitals are under more pressure than at any other time since the start of the pandemic, and infection rates across the entire country continue to soar at alarming rates. Meanwhile, a third COVID vaccine received emergency approval for the use in the UK, with 17 million doses of the jab made by the US firm Moderna. Pre-ordered by the UK, the vaccine joins the Pfizer, BioNTech and the Oxford AstraZeneca jabs in being approved, with close to 1.5 billion people now vaccinated in the UK. Dr. William Welfare, COVID-19 response director at PHE, said, "Each life lost to the virus is a tragedy, but sadly we can expect the death toll to continue to rise until we stop the spread." Approximately 1 in 3 people with the coronavirus have no symptoms and could be spreading it without realising it. To protect our loved ones, it is essential we all stay home where possible. This will reduce new infections, ease the pressure on the NHS and save lives. London Mayor Sadiq Khan said the spread of COVID in the capital was not out of control, as he declared a major incident. This means the emergency services and hospitals cannot guarantee a normal level of response and allows special arrangements to be implemented. The previous highest death toll, 1,224, was recorded on the 21st of April 2020 during the UK's first lockdown. Daily deaths were in the single figures as recently as September. The tragic numbers will continue. We are now seeing the record numbers of cases over the Christmas period translate into record numbers of deaths. And with new infections rising rapidly, more than 1,001,000 people in England estimated to be infected with COVID-19 last week. These tragic numbers are set to continue for some time. And that is mainly because of a new variant from the virus, which is thought to be between 30 to 70% more transmissible. The administration of the vaccines to at-risk groups should see a reduction in the numbers dying by the end of the month, and the numbers having to go into hospital going down sometime after that. This is the other way around from what you normally hear, but that is because a successful vaccine program will initially remove those most likely to die from the path of the virus. Fitter or younger people who are less likely to die but could still end up occupying hospital beds won't be getting their jabs for some time yet. The advent of spring's better weather should also help cases to fall, but ministers will have to decide what level of risk and death society is prepared to tolerate. Friday's data also showed 31,624 coronavirus patients were in the UK hospitals on Wednesday, 46% above the peak during the first wave last year, and 619,941 tests were conducted in 24 hours to also a new record. England, much of Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland continue to be under strict national measures, with stay-at-home orders in place for most people. The R number, the rate at which an infected person passes on the virus to someone else, is now estimated between 1 to 1.4, meaning the epidemic is growing between 0% and 6% per day. COVID infections rose by almost a third between Boxing Day and the 3rd of January, reaching 70% of new cases a day, according to a major study. In a different piece of research, an estimated 1.2 million people in total had COVID over a similar time period. The Office for National Statistics said Boris Johnson has pledged on Thursday to use England's lockdown to implement an unprecedented national effort to offer vaccination to those at the highest risk from COVID by 15th of February. He said the army would be drafted in to use the battle preparation techniques to achieve the goal, which could see up to 15 million people offered the vaccine by the middle of next month. In another development from next week, all travellers to the UK will need to show a recent negative result before they arrive. Daily deaths are increasing. UK daily reported deaths with coronavirus. 18th to the 31st of May is reported almost 1,000 deaths. That's an awful substantial amount of just, people dropping. That's like almost an airstrike on a town, isn't it? On a town that would wipe out a small village. It'd wipe out a small village, no doubt. That is absolutely COVID causing manslaughter. Absolutely. People don't actually understand how serious this is getting. Anyway, first, before we move on, we really, we need to take our hats off to our frontline workers. Our key workers, not just the NHS, fire brigade, police force. They all go hand in hand. Supermarket workers as well. Supermarket workers are not getting enough shout, are they? They're not getting enough crack. Supermarket workers, without your nutrition, they don't get enough recognition. Really don't. They don't get enough recognition. Without you getting your nutrition, the government helping us, getting a roof over head, getting food, but them people that work in a supermarket, they're under the biggest stress, the biggest risk of catching COVID. They're in the supermarket every day, feeding in and out patients who just caught COVID. New patients who just caught COVID. They're open to all infections and working in a supermarket. I know they've got the COVID mask, and doesn't make them free from the risk of catching coronavirus. It's not been shouted about them working. Even the security guards on the front and the front of the shop, keeping an eye on things. They're not having a little phone call. 2 seconds. Hopefully, this is an important phone call. Hello there. Hello. Hello, Mr. Khan.
Hello.
How you doing there, sir?
I'm from India.
Oh, you're from India. What's it like over in India with the COVID scenario at the moment?
Please repeat.
What's it like in India with the COVID-19 situation? In India, where you live, yeah. What's it like with the COVID-19 situation?
Actually, I'm staying in India, in Mumbai.
Yep.
And your situation is like, economy is like going 95%.
How many people have got over there? I mean, what's the death ratio, do you know? What's the death ratio of COVID patients in India?
Not as doing every time testing.
They're over here. I mean, what do you know what the death ratio of the COVID is at the moment over there? Is it big? Is it large?
Not a lot, like it's medium, right?
There's 10.4 million cases. There's 10 million people recovered, and there's 151,000 people. Oh, okay. Have you had the COVID test? You had the test yet or not? You had the new vaccine?
Not yet. Still, I don't have like any symptom in my body. So I didn't feel in the last 1 year like any like pain, body like a breathing pain, like problem, a testing problem.
Oh, okay.
Check out me in the hospital.
What's your day-to-day health like? You know, you're pretty active. You look after yourself. I know about it. You know. Anyway, sorry about that. I've got to carry on with the show, guys. I've had to carry on. Anyway, with Essex Live, we're going with Essex Live, ladies and gentlemen. Harry Watson manslaughter, man who drove his car into people outside Loughton School is sentenced. I mean, what does it take your psychomotor state to get in a car? He drove his car into people. I mean, what was going on? Was he under the influence of alcohol and narcotics? This is what we call an absolute men's rehabilitation. He's not obviously fit for purpose, is he? I mean, we talk about all the walks and shames and talks in life. This man, Harley Watson, is not fit for purpose. He's not fit for purpose. An Essex man who killed a 12-year-old boy has been sentenced after plowing his car into a number of people. Terence Glover, 50, after killing the schoolboy by purposely driving his car at him. The young boy, Harley Watson, died after he was hit by a car outside Dedham Park High School, where he was a pupil at 3:20 on Monday, December the 2nd, 2019. Harley's mum, Jo, said Harley was kind, caring, selfless, intelligent and comical young man. He had a very bright future ahead of him, which was cruelly cut short through no fault of his own. He was dearly loved and is sorely missed by his family and many friends. A number of other people were also injured. 5 teenage boys, a teenage girl and a woman aged in her 20s. Terence Glover of Newman's Lane, Loughton, pleaded guilty to 1 count of manslaughter on the basis of diminished responsibility and 10 counts of attempted murder last November. At Snaresbrook Crown Court today, Friday, January the 8th, Glover has been sentenced to 15 years of Harley's manslaughter, with a concurrent 10-year sentence from the count of attempted murder. He will serve his sentence in a secure hospital and will be released until it is deemed safe to do so, police say. I mean, you wouldn't let it out anyway, would you? You would not let someone that's just caused absolute manslaughter. Absolutely not. Should he be deemed mentally fit to be discharged from a hospital at any point in his sentence, he'll be transferred to a prison. Investigating. My thoughts are with Harley's parents today and with all the victims who were injured and transmitted by Glover's deliberate actions. They have all been so brave throughout the course of this investigation and shown the utmost dignity and at today's hearing. This outcome will not bring Harley back, and it won't stop victims and their loved ones from revealing the terror they felt that December afternoon. But I hope that Glover's conviction and now his secure detention means they can start to rebuild their lives, safe in the knowledge that he no longer poses a threat to their community. Absolute shock, horror of a story. I mean, like I was saying, the men's rehabilitations, what was going through that absolute psychomotor state of a human reptile to enter a vehicle under the influence of whatever is under the influence of stupidity. Absolute juvenile situation. Anyway, HuffPost, ladies and gentlemen, front bench politics with the proclamation and the news and the gatherance. Flux for the show, flux for the flow. Why this lockdown must be our last. I've heard that many, many times. In a fourth national lockdown, a zero COVID strategy works and should be prioritised. Lives will depend on it. Researcher Jay Patel. Few glad tidings were brought over the Christmas period, following a year of plentiful political failures. England's third national lockdown marks its place as necessary. Through disastrously late. See, I make mistakes sometimes, we all do. I made the numbers on national lockdowns here. I thought it was my fourth one. In their epiphanic style, the three wise men, Professor Chris Whitty, Sir Patrick Vallance and Boris Johnson shut the country amid fear over overwhelming national health secretary capacity and measures to help safeguard healthcare services and curb the rate of infection and costs of education, mental health and the economy, to name a few. But a broader concern has underpinned England's management of COVID-19 since the beginning of the pandemic. The choice of strategy, global success in controlling the COVID-19 pandemic, a market skewed towards countries in the East Asia and Pacific region in these countries. Low case numbers and resumed economic activity have been attributed to the early decision to pursue a zero COVID strategy. Prioritising testing, effective contact tracing and supported isolation, strict border control and clear public health messaging. Countries which have proactively and systematically pursued a zero COVID strategy have kept their economies afloat. It is clear that England has favoured a seasonally recurrent influenza model that tolerates the circulation of SARS-CoV-2 in order to build, as Sir Patrick Vallance describes, some immunity in the population. Needless to say, it is not a favourable nor acceptable response for a SARS-related virus capable of causing long COVID in around 10% of positive cases, and a syndrome in children resulting in widespread inflammation, MIS-C, in Sweden, where the country's initial response allowed epidemic spread of the virus. In order to build up herd immunity, the failure has been clear. Lockdowns are blunt and damaging instruments with a double edge. On one hand, they buy time for an effective response to be developed, but in doing so ripen the conditions necessary for further viral mutations and increase the risk of a virus spillover event to occur. Warning signs have already been issued with the emergence of highly transmissible variants, including the B117 identified in the UK, and the mink-associated variant from Denmark, following spillover for humans to animals. Notably, spillback can occur where the reverse dynamic, humans to animals transmission, is observed, importing new strains with the potential for sustained human-to-human transmission. These concerns compound support for the argument that maximum suppression with a view to eliminate. It is not only the clearest route to the end, it's also one to avoid a new beginning. Who Executive Director Dr. Mike Ryan distills the key leadership quality perfectly in the Banatal truism. Speed trumps perfection if speed is a key, are we fighting a losing battle with a continual stream of delayed and reactionary responses? There is, however, a glimmer of optimism to be found in the UK's efficient regulatory approval and rollout of vaccines, providing vaccination is interpreted as part of a wider strategic response capable with the dynamic of SARS-CoV-2. The need for further harsh lockdowns can be avoided. This has been and continues to be pandemic of false dichotomies, which most notable fallacy existing between the public health and economic cross-country economic evaluations consistently evidence the leadership which have proactively and systematically pursued a zero-COVID strategy have kept their economics afloat, with several showing economic growth in the last fiscal quarter. The lockdown can and must be the last suppression. We will help follow the focused effort to eliminate immediate actions must include rapidly scaling up the COVID-19 vaccination program, strengthening the find, test and trace, isolate support infrastructure and implementing stringent border control measures such as testing at airports and mandatory supported quarantine periods for travellers. The government has mapped a route to follow yonder star, but it's time they accept this to be the wrong path. The Asia Pacific region models to the Western world that zero COVID strategy works and should be prioritised as a high effective strategic response. Lives will depend on it. Jay Patel is a researcher at the Global Health and Governance Programme, Usher Institute, University of Edinburgh. Well, I am the former professor at P&G, and I was reading previously that you still can travel as long as at the airport your test comes back negative. Have to make sure your test comes back negative. Moving on to Barbara Windsor. Thank you all for staying tuned. Got a short, quick break after this. Dame Barbara Windsor's funeral held with Queen Peggy tribute. The funeral of EastEnders and Carry On actress Dame Barbara Windsor has taken place in London. Ross Kemp, who played her on screen, son in the soap, was among the 30 mourners and gave a reading, as aid actor and friend Christopher Biggins. Dame Barbara died in December at the age of 83, having had dementia. There were floral arrangements spelling Babs, the Dame and Saucy, and a mock pub sign showing her as the Queen Peggy in the style of the soap's Queen Vic. Dame Barbara played pub landlady Peggy Mitchell in EastEnders for more than 2 decades. Scott Mitchell, who was married to Dame Barbara for 20 years, was joined at the Golders Green crematorium by family and friends including comedians Matt Lucas and David Williams. As COVID has denied so many of Barbara's family, friends and fans a chance to say farewell properly, I wanted to share the order of the service to let people be a small part of it. Mr. Mitchell told the PA News Agency, "My heart goes out to every family who have experienced the same restrictions at their loved ones' funerals." He added, I would again like to thank my family, friends, the media and the public for incredible support and wishes since Barbara's passing. Dame Barbara's coffin was brought into the crematorium to the sound of Frank Sinatra on the sunny side of the street. And the service featured a recording of Sparrows, Can't Sing from the actress' 1963 film of the same. It finished with the famous topless photo of Dame Barbara from the film Carry On Camping alongside her quote, "This picture will follow me to the end." Long-time friend Anna Cohen, who played Dame Barbara's on-screen sister Aunt Sarah in EastEnders, also paid tribute during the service. The funeral was also attended by Lewis Williams, Jane Moore and EastEnders actor Jamie fourth week. However, the numbers were limited due to coronavirus social distancing. Alzheimer's Research UK recently said it had been seen a spike in donations since Dame Barbara's death. A Just Giving page set up as a tribute to her and in aid of the charity has raised more than 150,000, including gift aid. Mr. Mitchell said that was beyond anything we may have dreamed of. Absolute legend, Barbara Windsor, has been taken from us. Absolute legend. You never know when your time's up of the COVID-19. Mate, stay home, stay safe. Leave house. Only leave your house, only important. Parents, going for a hard time. I shouldn't say this, but yeah, go and help them, by all means. Donald Ralph, album murder, guns missing from home of an 83-year-old who was strangled to death in his own home. Donald Ralph was strangled to death in his own home on Tuesday, December the 29th. Donald Ralph from Oldham, Essex, was found deceased inside a property in a small village at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, December the 29th. Essex police are searching for firearms which are missing from the home of an 83-year-old who was strangled to death in his own home last week. Donald Ralph was found dead in his own home in the village of Oldham, Essex, near Colchester, by police at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, December 29th. Two men, Leighton Snook, 28, of no fixed address, and a 16-year-old boy from Leicester who cannot be named for legal reasons, which are missing from his home. The 83-year-old was registered firearms owner, and officers now believe the guns were sold after Ralph's murder. So, so obviously, them two youth obviously been following Ralph about, obviously knew he was some sort of, farm gamekeeper or whatever he was, So they must have followed him out and then strangled him. Got him in his own home. 83-year-old. Disgusting, isn't it? Detective Chief Inspector Scott Egerton said, Don was registered firearms keeper and we have established 2 guns are missing from his home. From the information we have, we believe they were stolen and may have been sold on, possibly Colchester or Hastings. I'm asking anyone who has seen the guns or been offered them for sale, please contact us. The 2 guns, self-loading rugged rifle, 22 serial number, a Browning shotgun, 12 bore, over under serial number. There's no serial numbers on there. I'm not going to go through them right now, but I'm going to share them on my Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to do what I can to get people to come forward, because there's people issue update on missing 14-year-old from Harwich who left behind heartbreaking note to family. Olivia Smith said she was fleeing to Yorkshire to sort herself out. Essex police has issued an update on a 14-year-old girl who fled to Essex and left behind a heartbreaking note to her family. Boyfriend, the note read, I'm going to Halifax for a bit to sort myself out. I broke up my boyfriend like you wanted. I don't know when I'll be back. I'm sorry. Her dad said that Olivia, who has no links to both Bradford and Halifax in West Yorkshire, had run away from home before, but never alone. After fleeing her home during the hours of Tuesday morning, January, Essex police are able to today, Friday, the January 8th, to give an update on the case. Thankfully, Essex police are now confirmed that Olivia has been found safe and well. An Essex police spokesman said we're no longer looking for Olivia Smith, 14, also known as Slater, who was missing from Harwich. She was found yesterday, Thursday, the 7th January. The police have fined anyone who assisted in efforts to find Olivia. I know what it's like as a youngster, in a relationship, you break up in a relationship at that young age. It's such a heartbreaking scenario. I mean, it's still heartbreaking as you get older, but you learn to cope with it a bit. Your coping mechanism is a bit better. It's not as relentless as it is when you're younger. Anyway, more for UK politics, ladies and gentlemen. Renters eviction bans in England and Wales are Eviction bans in England and Wales have been extended following a similar move in Scotland on Thursday. The move will mean eviction notices, which could have started again on Monday, will not be served for 6 weeks in England and longer in Wales. Current restrictions are due to end on Monday, but charities have called for more financial support for tenants. Councils are also been given extra funding to those house sleepers during the cold winter. They will be asked to go back. They will be asked to go back to people on the streets who have previously refused help, given the rising COVID infection rates. Renter support. In the last month, bailiffs have been able to serve notices and enforce evictions in England and Wales. Dubbed a Christmas truce, evictions were banned at the start of the first lockdown in March. And ministers extend the notice period landlords must give from 3 to 6 months. Courts begin to clear the backlog of repossession case in September, starting with the most serious case, such as those involving domestic violence or anti-social behaviour. With some of these set to come through, charities and opposition parties have been calling for extension to the bailiff ban, given the stricter restrictions and greater threat of COVID transmission. Housing is a devolved issue in Scotland. The ban on eviction orders, which has due to expire the 22nd of January, was extended to the end of March on Thursday. This will apply to all evictions in the area, subject to the level 3 or 4 restrictions, except in case of serious plans have been announced to be extended its ban to the end of March, with ministers saying this is an extremely difficult time for many people and renters should not be forced out of their homes. Also on Friday, Housing Minister Robert Jenrick announced the bailiff ban will be extended to the 21st of February in England. He said that councils are given $10 million to redouble their efforts to accommodate rough sleepers. At the start of this pandemic, we made sure that the most vulnerable people in society were protected. This winter, we are continuing in this vein and redoubling our efforts to help those in need, he said. Our ongoing Everyone in initiative is widely regarded as one of the most successful of this kind in the world, ensuring most people are safe in accommodation. We're now going further and focus on GP registration of rough sleepers. He said this was aimed to ensuring that rough sleepers did not miss out on COVID vaccines. I'm scared about a letter. Concerns about homelessness and crowded accommodation has risen during the COVID crisis. 500,000 private tenants in the UK are behind with their rent, according to research by Citizen Advice. He said this was a new problem for many of them, suggesting 58% were not in arrears last February, before the pandemic hit people's jobs and finances. The charity said that those had fallen behind the rent owed at average of £730. It was among a collection of charities calling there for financial support for renters, pointing out that homeowners had seen the benefit of mortgage holidays. I mean, I'm struggling. I might be sitting here. You might think this guy must be an absolute fantastic wage. I'm sitting here with almost £1,000 debt with myself. Well, more than that, about 3. But I'm talking about utility bills. To keep a roof over my head. It's all about £1,000. One student told Citizen Advice that he was in a state of constant worry over the threat of eviction. He was unable to supplement his student loan with work, as he had previously, and benefits failed to fill up the gap. His letting agent declined his request for a temporary rent reduction. I have no idea what might happen, and that's the scary thing. Every day I'm waiting for a letter to say that he, the landlord, wants to sell the place or change the tenancy or something like that, he said. It's always in the back of my mind that you're going to get home and there's an eviction letter. The UK government has announced that for next month, tenants and landlords may be able to use mediation service to iron out disputes and keep people in their homes. Fangum Debonair, Labour's shadow housing secretary, said the UK government response was not good enough. The virus is more rampant than ever before, yet the government's action does not measure up what was done in March, he said. Landlords' worries. Landlords' groups have also called on the UK government for financial support in England. They point out that many people who let out a home do not have a large portfolio of properties and would also have faced the threat of income loss or redundancy from regular jobs. However, the National Residential Landlords Association said ministers were doing more harm than good by repeatedly banning repossessions, as this simply stacked up more tenant debt on top of the existing arrears. The repossessions ban is sticking plaster that will ultimately lead to more people losing their homes, said the Association Chief Executive Ben Beadle. He insisted the government should recognise the crisis facing many tenants and take immediate action to enable them to pay their debts, as happening in Scotland and Wales. The objective should be to sustain tenancy in long term and not just for short term. In Northern Ireland, landlords are required to give tenants 12 weeks notice to quit before moving to eviction proceedings. The rules were extended to March in anticipation of a second wave of the pandemic. I mean, should any of us be suffering through this crisis of any bills? They should be waived off. Bills should be irrelevant, you know. Not even pay rent. Have it all free of charge. It's not our fault we're going through this crisis, is it? COVID crisis. We can't go to work. Give me a job. On a job, £2 a week. I'll pay my bills, no problem. Then I'll be screaming, oh, I want CSA, I want CSA. Well, let me see my kids then. You know. Let's play ball. Let's play ball, Parliament. Come on, let's play ball. That's what you're thinking. Thinking exactly as I am. People, you know, you've got debt collectors coming in the door, you've got to pay bills. I can't pay my bills. COVID-19 is stopping me going to work. I can't pay my utility bills. It's simple as that, isn't it? It's simple as black and white as what it says on the tin. I don't go work, I can't pay bills. And there is nothing you can do. Have a quick break, ladies and gents.
I'm like the generic version of Oprah Winfrey, a mentor, mentee, picking up a homeless from night shelter and food deprivation. These are self from across the nation. Going back to the cross, Jesus is risen. Here we go. Let's hit it. Let's hit the show. Hit the rock. Hit the clock. Time's clocking down. Start crying around, block. Here we go. Pretty big. But Jesus Christ is risen. It's a supposed resurrection. But Jesus is risen. It's a supposed resurrection. Now he's here to stay, to give us a direction. At this damn moment, we're heading in the wrong direction. I don't know what we're gonna do. Exit with the Brexit or the EU. All I know, one of his disciples, Bojo, is in the firing line. That's one of Jesus' direction. At this damn time, at this damn moment in time, we're heading in the wrong direction. I don't know what we're gonna do. Exit with the Brexit or the EU. All I know, one of his disciples, Bojo, is in the firing line. That's one of his selection. This minute in time, the whole damn world is corroding on population growth. In the UK is overloading. This minute in time, the whole damn world is corroding on population growth. In the UK is overloading. We need this Brexit to form a unity, to protect our community. I spit these hits with diva, but I'm a firm believer. We're gonna be a real receiver. Send out meditations upon causes visit all different nations. We need this Brexit form a unity to protect our community. I spit these lips with diva, but I'm a firm believer. We're gonna be a real achiever. Send out meditations. You're all different nations. Every day we're praying so hard to battle these sporadic night crime from happening all over the globe. I sit sometimes and think to myself, where's it all gonna stop? Sometimes in life, certain things you all gotta drop. What happened to parental responsibilities for these dumb juvenile kids with their no possibilities? What I know is we're heading in the wrong direction. And Jesus knows he's gonna make us a selection.
Come on, bro. What's he gonna do?
What happened to parents' responsibilities? The dumb juvenile kids, there's no possibilities. All I know is we're heading in the wrong direction. Jesus knows he's gonna make us a selection. I'm gonna sing hallelujah, amen. It's our time to shine and stop this spreading night crime. We're gonna put a stop to it. We're gonna sing a stop to it. We gotta put a stop to it. There's no forbearance. For the parents and dumbass kids playing Grand Theft Auto, smoking weed or Assassin's Creed. They don't know playing silly games ain't gonna earn no dough. Join the other kids and soon the world gonna blow. Our community, our country, our safety, paramount, parliamentary sovereignty, law is the law divide above all judiciary in the UK. Laws divide, laws multiply. We raise you, God praise you. Now all you can do is sit here, living on welfare. Our community, our country is our safety and is paramount. Parliamentary sovereignty is law divide above all other judiciary in the UK. Laws divide, laws multiply. We raise you, God praise you. Now all you can do is sit here, living on welfare. Amen. Here we go, fuck. It's a cap.